Okay, welcome in, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We have Coach Campbell. Congratulations to Coach and Iowa State. Before we get started, please use the raise hand feature for any questions, and you will be prompted to unmute your line. With that, we will take the first question from Pranav.
Coach, what does a win like this mean for the program?
Yeah, it's great to finish, obviously, with a great win. But, I think really the holistic piece of what this team has done really from the beginning of the season to the end of the season is really powerful, at a place like Iowa State where there's a lot of things that have never happened before have just occurred. So, I've always said you measure a team by the whole, and I think the whole of what's just occurred is really, really special.
Next up, Zane Douglas.
Hi, Coach. What kind of just ending a season like this, I guess, what does it mean knowing that it's kind of your first bowl game win with Iowa State and I guess just after the loss last week? What does it mean for you?
Well, we've won other bowl games, and so we beat Memphis in the bowl game in the Liberty Bowl, and now we've won another one, which is great. And again, to me, last week was last week. We ran out of time. This week we played a lot better, and it was great to be able to do that. But the reality of it is, you measure a team by the whole model, and I think the whole model, what's just occurred here, is really the greatest thing that's ever happened in the history of this school.
Next up, please, Zachary Martin.
Hey, Coach. I think this question has been asked during a lot of games this year. Was this the most complete game, complete win you guys have had all season? But did today feel like the most complete win because of how you guys dominated time of possession, defense, second half, and come away with critical special teams plays?
Yeah, I think that each group had its moments, to be honest with you, throughout the football game. And I thought that part was really, really powerful. And we needed it. Offensively really got off to a great start in the first half. The special teams turnovers that occurred in this game, and then Connor Asali really having a great day. I thought those came in critical moments, and then defensively, we were just elite in the second half of the game. So, when we've played great here, we've played great team football, and there's been a lot of moments that's occurred, and I would probably agree against a really good opponent. I thought that was as complete as we played all season.
Next up, John Shaffer.
Matt, how fitting is it for Mike Rose to get that game-sealing interception there at the end of that one?
Man, John, could you ask for a better guy to have the interception than Mike Rose? Remember, John, Cleveland, Ohio. Okay, remember that. So you know that. But that guy has been – there's not been a guy that's played better football from game 1 to game 12. And I want to see it nationally than what Mike Rose has done for Iowa State football. So that guy has been our rock. That guy has played elite football every step of the way. And, boy, what an honor to coach that guy.
Travis Hines.
Hey, Matt, you have previously talked about how when you got to Iowa State, you inherited a locker room and a culture that needed to learn how to win. Now, 5 years later, best season in school history, Fiesta Bowl champs. I guess, can you just reflect on that evolution or that transformation over the last 5 years?
Yeah, I just think it's been incremental. I don't think at a place like this you can it just doesn't happen overnight. And everything we do, we have to learn along the way, because there's nothing that you can go back to and say, well, you know what, we did it this way. Or, man, when the success occurred, this is how it got done. So every time that we do something new, those are uncharted territory. And, it takes a lot of unification. It takes a lot of humility from my end as the head football coach, first and foremost, on through our coaches and our players to say, man, what went really well, what didn't go well, And then how do we fix what didn't go well to continue to be better the next time we do it? And, Travis, you've covered us enough. It's not been perfect, and it never will be here. We're always going to have to go up the rough side of the mountain at Iowa State, just because that's who we are. That's how the program is. And yet when you have elite character, elite leadership, great things can happen. And that's really what we've been able to develop now in our 5th year.
Next up, please, Ben Visor.
Hey, Coach. Brock Purdy in the 4th quarter, it was 3rd and 8. He scrambles, escapes the pressure, and then dives for first down with Kayvon Thibodeau, gunning for him. What did you see on that play, and what's that say about Brock Purdy?
Boy, I don't know if I've got enough words to talk about Brock. And, I again, playing at Iowa State and being the leader of Iowa State, and every play that you have is criticized, and either positive or negative. What Brock has done now in 3 years as the starting quarterback here, again, it's never been done. And when I watch that play, and I'm glad you brought it up, Ben, because to me, that will be the play that I'll carry with me for the rest of my life. And him straining in a critical moment to get the first down when all odds are against him, that's Brock Purdy. And Brock Purdy, from day one, game one, every game we played, he's given us a chance to be successful. And without Brock Purdy, there's no Fiesta Bowl, there's no Iowa State. We are who we are because of the leadership and the character and the humility of Brock Purdy.
Next up, please, Stephen McDaniel.
Hey, Coach. I hate being redundant here, but I was just going to hope you could talk one more time just about how special this senior class is and just how fitting it is that the final game of their career, they're Fiesta Bowl champions.
Yeah, Steven, it's funny when I just got done telling these guys, the 3 years prior to us coming here, 3-9, 2-10, 3-9. And we recruit all these guys with a hope and a dream. And then all of a sudden we're 3-9 year one. And I think it's so fitting that as we leave here and this senior class leaves here now 9-3, they really flip the script the entire way. And, maybe for some programs that's easy to do, but I think you guys know the history of this program for the last 100+ years. It's not real easy to do here. And this group did it. This group literally rewrote the history books. And, we wouldn't be here without their leadership as well.
Next up, please, Jesse Morrison.
Hey, Coach. Could you just or did you talk after this game to Brock, and just what does it mean that he has come home to Arizona and become Offensive Player of the Year at this bowl that he grew up dreaming about playing in?
I think it's so fitting, and I think what I admire about Brock, and Brock has made everybody in our program better because of his faith, who he is and who he's become, and how he's always standing firm in his faith. And I think when you demand to stand firm in your faith and what you believe in, then great things happen to you. And you know what? I couldn't think of a greater way for Brock to end his junior year, and I couldn't think of a greater way for this football team to etch its name in the history books of Iowa State football than for Brock Purdy to come home and to win the Fiesta Bowl and be the offensive MVP. And so I'm so happy for him. I'm happy for his family. And again, I know when Brock said he was going to come to Iowa State, I said it's going to be a leap of faith. And, man, it's come full circle. So I couldn't be happier for him.
Next up, Jared Stansberry.
Coach, what's the biggest thing that you think you've learned this year?
Yeah, I just think that in life, you have to have the willingness to grow. And, life has been really hard for our society since really March. And, I told myself, our staff, and our players, I'll never forget the day that we knew that we were going to go in quarantine, we were going into spring break, and we weren't coming back. And, I said, the reality of it is, if we don't use this time away to grow, then I don't know if our program or each of us will ever recover. And whether that growth is in sport, maybe it's being a better husband, maybe it's being a better father. Some of you guys are going home. Maybe you need to be better sons, but you're going to have to grow. And, you know, what I would tell you is I think this is just etched in my mind, the importance and the humility of growth. And through some really dark and trying times, this team has been a beacon of hope for a lot. This team has grown and gotten better when a lot of things around us have maybe went the other way. And I think each and every one of these young men have been just an inspiration to me of the growth that it takes to become the best version of yourself that you can be.
Next up, please, Randy Peterson.
Hey, Matt, what you've got the bar set pretty high now. What will it take to continue and to maybe even go beyond the bar that you've set? And is college football playoffs, is that reality in a few years or next year?
I think the reality for us is that every year is you got to start back over at square one, and nothing's promised to you. You're never promised in life your hopes and dreams. And the reality of it is you got to go back in the dark, and you got to work and strain to become the best version of yourself that you can be. This team literally became the best version of itself it could be. You've heard me talk a lot about reach your full potential. Well, this 2020 Iowa State football team reached its full potential. There's not one regret. There's not one, man, we woulda, coulda, shoulda. This group's literally reached its full potential and became the best version of itself it can be. And so, you know, what we'll do is we'll evaluate everything that's occurred in the last 9 months. We'll go back in the dark as a coaching staff and as a head coach and say, man, where can we continue to grow and get ourselves better? And then come back next year and really work and strain really in the next 3 weeks and to become better versions of ourselves than what we were a year ago. And so I think we've always had the ability to do that. And that's something that we'll continue to do. But, you know, I think outside expectations, it's like I said last year after a tough game, man, if we listened to what the outside world said about us at Iowa State, we would have been dead a long time ago. So all we do is we just kept plugging away and work to become the best version of us we can be.
Next up, please, Ian Murphy.
Coach, Breece Hall's had some special games this season. Where does this one rank among those games? And how does this season rank among the backs that you've coached?
Yeah, you know, Breece is a really special player. And, you know, as great as he is, I still think there's growth for Breece Hall to continue to be even better. And, you know, I'll really look forward to going back and watching this game because I think it'd be very, you know, unfair of me to make a statement of, you know, where this game ranks in Breece's games. But Breece is a really special player. He's continued to grow and get better, and there's still room for improvement, which is really exciting for me. You know, we've been fortunate to coach some great backs, and Breece certainly is one of the great backs of our time that we've been able to coach. But, you know, I think he's so fortunate to play after a guy like David Montgomery, and you see what David's doing now in the National Football League, and he set the tone and the standard and, you know, gives Breece a visual to actually go back and watch. So, you know, we're just really fortunate and just really proud of Breece and know he's only going to continue to grow and become better and better and better.
Next up, Josh Christensen.
Oops, sorry, Coach. This might kind of coincide with some of the questions that you have answered, but I guess how did you get not just these seniors, but these other kids to believe that they could do this, that they could turn this program around? Like you said, even the 3 years before you came, what this team had gone through, where this program was. And as a coach, what is the biggest thing that what's the biggest satisfaction that you get that you were able to do, do something with Iowa State, turn this program around, make something, and make people believe in this program, I guess?
Yeah, I think that's the greatest joy that you have in coaching. At least I do. Why do I coach? Well, you coach to inspire and empower young people to become the best version of themselves they can be. And, you know, I remember when, you know, I remember the comments when we came here and said, boy, coaching at Iowa State's a death sentence. And, you know, I always chuckle at that, and that always rings in my ears about those comments made. And, I think the thing about it is it's probably what's been a driving force every step of the way for myself and our staff, that, you just keep going to work and you love young people, you inspire young people. We have that saying of kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's been the foundation of how you build it. And, we're not a 5-star football factory. We don't have any 5-star players, and shoot, we only got 1 or 2 4-star players. But what we are is we're a group of people that have cared about each other and willing to go to work to become the best versions of ourselves we can be. And I think that's really what life is. That's what's great about our sport. Football parallels life in a lot of ways. And even though it's short moments and snippets, it's still a sport where you can teach great life lessons. And I think for coaches and players, we've learned so much along the way and have worked really hard to become the best versions of ourselves we can be.
Okay, we have time for one more. We'll go to Travis Hines.
Pat, you had mentioned when I asked you earlier about not having experiences to lean on throughout this process. I'm curious, now that you say you have a team that did reach its full potential, how that can be beneficial going forward and having that experience.
Yeah, well, I do think the reality of this is a blip in a moment of time, right? What's occurred the last 9 months. We're going to wake up tomorrow and, the reality is the sun's going to come up and, this will quickly fade. And, the next thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go back to work. And, I think the thing for us now is we can go back and say, well, what did it take for Iowa State to be successful? How does that look? And I think we know what that looks like. We know what the leadership takes. We know what the sacrifices take. And I think those things are powerful because, I think we're all creatures that learn by doing. And, to be able to do it, to reflect on it, and to understand it, I think those are all powerful things for this program and for the young men that reside in this program to learn and grow from.
Coach, thank you so much for your time and congratulations again.
Okay. Thank you, guys.